can do about the noise.
Okay, hold on just a second. This is very important because we've had a positive relationship so far. I've acquiesced to everything you've asked me to do, taking down the signs, and you said that you would follow through. So you're telling me, William, that when you met, were the police with you like you said, or was it just you?
No. Me and the chief haven't met yet. The chief have been copied on all of your emails. All the videos that you saved me, I've already got them saved on a USB drive so we can have this talk. Me and the chief.
Okay, now wait just a second.
So we're not even done yet. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. We're not on his side. We're still acting upon the city ordinance, the city codes.
Okay, well, let's look at this real quick then. You told me, and you wrote me actually 2 weeks ago, that the next week you and the police, I don't know which one, you said would meet at that you had a meeting to meet with Alex. What you're saying though is that
No. I said that I was going to meet with Alex first, and then I was going to have a meeting with the chief.
Okay, well, whatever. Okay, well, I think there's some miscommunication there, but anyways, it doesn't matter. What matters to me is that you're telling me that you met with Alex over a week ago, and he promised you, and the dad promised you that he would drive a different car?
Correct. They said that they was going to get even though he said that vehicle was factory made the way that it sounds right now.
That's a lie. He's just a pathological liar.
So the thing about it is, myself and the chief still have not met yet. And we're still, all the videos, the text messages that you sent, I have those. We're not finished investigating this case. So I don't want you to feel like we're jumping on his side. We're just going through what we're going through. When Alex told me that you guys, he was having a temporary TPO on you, right? So I asked have he's been served yet? And he said, well, no, not right now. So I'm thinking that you have already been served, being that we spoke maybe like a week ago. So I'm thinking that it was already served with the paperwork of the temporary TPO.
No, what happened, okay, now I understand what's going on, because I didn't even know about this at all. You're the first person who told me he's tried to get a second TPO, but we're already filing this morning what I told you in an email. Right. And have already been telling you, look, we've just come to a point where we're going to have to get a TPO against him to enforce this because we're not getting any support. Now,
I saw that video. I did see that video that you just sent me, and I did not agree with that, of him turning around, backing up, and provoking you guys.
Now, wait, the most important thing, the most important thing is this. He lied to you. And he lied, and the dad lied. They're perjurers, they're liars, they're incorrigible. What I'm sharing with you, though, is doesn't that make you a little upset when you go to the trouble of meeting with someone after I take down the signs that the police said I had to... Wait, don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me, but I'm glad to see it got you angry like that, because I'm going, okay, all right, well, William, you know, I took down the signs the police said I had to have up to be able to have any enforcement, and the other extra signs, they were just personal appeals, so nothing illegal about them. They were positive. But the extra sign that talked about the speed limit, now so you're angry that he flat out lied to you, then that you see a video of him driving the exact same car, misusing the car, flipping me off after he promised you and the dad promised you a week ago that he'd drive a different car, right?
Right.
Okay, so I don't know what else I can do or say. I believe you're trying. I know you're in a bureaucracy, but that doesn't help save us from everything we're going through. So all I'm going to say is thank you for looking at the evidence, and what I'm saying now is that we're having to act on our own. What he did do, and what you've seen, the emails and the messages, instead of getting a TPO, because they're not going to give him a second one after the first judge said no, you know, so he hired this attorney who's just basically a mental prostitute, you know, like a hired gun is what my dad would call him, you know. And once the attorney found out how bad the client was, I think there's no more action. I mean, I think she earned her money, which really upsets me. And I'm going to cross-file this TPO that we're going to get in DeKalb into the original case to say, look, you know, you didn't do what we asked in my countersuit to find him and warn him to stop all this. And so as a result, he spent money on an attorney to try to get me falsely arrested when I'm the one 100% right, 110% right, trying to do good. Not only am I not being bad, but I'm trying to do good. And so again, I don't have any personal animosity towards you. I think you're sincere, and the fact that you got angry that he lied to you and he's driving this car, because guess what? And you can talk to him about this. I mean, you need to get the police chief, and that's the only thing that's going to help us is to put the fear of God into Alex, because and the fear of the police, because right now the police have been enabling him, and that's what my frustration comes from. I call in the police to try to get help. You promised to help me, and I'm about to get thrown in jail falsely. You know, it's like, okay, this is not going anywhere good. And so what you need to do is show the police and say, look, as soon as Mr. Hunt had all the neighbors as witnesses against Alex, and his attempt to get a TPO on Christopher Hunt failed, because they would have definitely perjured afterwards. You see how they lie, and they would have gotten me thrown in jail for violating a TPO and been vindictive and malicious, passive aggressive. So, but the judge didn't do it because she saw all the tapes, she saw the witnesses, but she wasn't strong enough. If she had fined him like I asked, but not throw him in jail for misusing the legal system to get a false TPO, he would have done what he did and kept doing it. For 2 weeks after that hearing, he drove a different car. Then he went back to his old ways. Then he's lied to you and gone back and done even terrible things. So I don't know what it takes for you to get the police chief and say, look, these guys promised me and they lied to me. Are we the police? Are we the code enforcement, or what are we? Because Mr. Hunt's now being threatened with false jail and everything we've looked at, all he's doing is trying to protect kids in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I get that. But what I want you to understand is that we are not picking sides. We want the safety for those kids, and we want the safety for your neighborhood. Okay, and we want the safety between you guys, because we don't want anything agitated between you guys and something possibly happening. So our position is safety for that community and safety for both of you guys.
Okay, and I've asked you, and I applaud that. And I actually was willing to de-escalate things by taking down the sign the police said to put up, and you promised me you'd follow through. Well, so far, the follow-through I've had was, instead of what I understood to be a meeting with the police chief and you last week, you met with him or you talked with him, and the dad made you promises. They've broken the promise. You've seen them not only break the promise, you've seen him speed, and you've seen an illegally loud car. When he's claiming and perjuring to you, not perjuring because he's not under oath, but he's lying to you, nobody sells a car in the dealership that loud. You know that. So, and if you disagree with it, then you need to call backup. You need to say, look, this doesn't make us look very good. I mean, the whole thing for the annexation was better police, better protection. What kind of protection are we getting? I'm about to be, we've got this kid that you guys can't even get to comply to code and do the speed limits and be safe and reasonable, despite all the video evidence and all the witnesses and everybody. I mean, it really, you've said that you were hired in to help fix this system. I'm going, great, thank God, because DeKalb has repented. DeKalb used to be one of the worst there is, and that's why everybody fled and ran away and made their little fiefdoms and caused more taxes and more bureaucracy. But now DeKalb has repented, but these little fiefdoms are, I hate to say it, but my experience, they're worse than DeKalb was. So what's the deal?
Correct. And like I said, I still have to talk with the chief. Don't think that this just happens just at the snap of the dime. You got to understand that the chief of police has a lot of stuff on his plate. So it's me having him to make a time so we can meet. We haven't forgot about you. All right. This was just a week and a half ago. So we're still working on it. You have not been forgotten. That's
okay. Well, no, this is fine. It's just that.
And I got everything that you sent me. I've saved it. I have a file, and we're going to go over all the videos that you sent me and the text messages and go from there. Okay,
so what I'm going to do, though, is based on you telling me that Alex has lied to you and that he got a second TPO on me, which, like I told you, I doubt is very likely, given that the first judge saw everything and just didn't give it to him. And then he had an attorney call me after hours on Friday and threaten me with arrest unless I said exactly what she wanted me to say, which is a lie, and I think that he spent hundreds of dollars to get that phone call and spend an hour of hey, I'll call him and we'll do this stuff and I'll get him, but then once she saw the evidence and realized, wow, my client's lying to me, wow, my client is abusing kids, wow, I think I'm going to get out of this before Mr. Hunt ends up suing me. So I think that's where we're at right now, but we're going to follow through. We're going to get our own TPO in DeKalb.
That's good. Get your own. Exactly. And that will work out for both of you guys.
Now, do you have any objection? Do you think there's any problem with me having a TPO that would say he's got to drive a code compliant volume manufactured car and he can't speed on our private drive? Do you think Chamblee will?
I'm not. Well, that is going to go through DeKalb. I can't say what the attorney would allow on your TPO. That's going to be the conversation between you and that judge. No,
but I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, if I call you as a code officer and I show you a video saying, look, this is not here's the TPO from DeKalb, and it says that he has to drive a manufacturer spec volume car.
Yeah. If it's in your TPO at the judge, we have to go by what the judge says in that TPO.
So that'll help y'all. That'll help y'all do your job, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and I don't think it's unreasonable. I'm not asking him to stay away from us. I'm not, he's never physically threatened me or, he didn't swerve his car and try to hit me. But what he's doing is definitely unsafe, speeding up over the hill, purposely revving his engine in front of the house, speeding up and down the street, harassing neighbors and stuff with his loud cars. And we need a TPO for that to stop, and this will help you enforce it. So thank you so much for your call, William. And
when are you gonna go ahead and file this TPO?
Well, I'm actually in the process. That's what's so coincidental about this, and that's why I called you and told you that this is what we're doing. I'm actually working on it right now.
Okay. So yeah, if the judge puts it in your TPO, then yes, the city has to abide by that.
I don't want the city to abide by it. I want the city. What I was trying to say. Will you have any problem enforcing that? Saying, hey, look, you violated the TPO and you're in serious poo-poo now.
Right. If it's in there, when I said the city, I mean us and the cops will have to enforce it.
Exactly. Okay, well, this is all we need to know. And then if you can, I will send you a copy this morning so that you have it in hand so that when you and the chief go to Alex and say, okay, look, you lied to us. There's no TPO, a second attempt at a TPO on Mr. Hunt that they probably won't give you because the first one was already ruled on against you, and now you hired an attorney, and by what we can see, the attorney tried to threaten and bully Christopher Hunt when all he's trying to do is good, and she's obviously dropped out. You lied to us about the car, saying you wouldn't drive it anymore, like you drove a decent car for 2 weeks and there was peace, and then you went back to your old ways. So you guys take it from there, but I don't know how you get bullies that, like I told you, the mom sent me an all-cap text after I told the attorney that you don't speak for the mom. The mom and I have had a relationship. Well, guess what happens? Next thing I know, I get this coached text from the mom in all caps, don't ever talk to us again. She's never sent me anything like that. That was totally Alex threatening her. And he said that she's stressed out. And that's because how does she deal with a bully son that she's financially dependent on? And she hates the fact that he's upsetting all the neighbors and turning the neighbors against him. What is a mom supposed to do?
Right.
I mean, this guy's a bully. So when you say you want, so let's just get this straightened out to where until you can say, hey, Christopher, you're 110%, you're wrong right here. I don't want to hear that you're trying to make peace between us by keeping me doing right, because all I'm trying to do is right. And if I had more help, I wouldn't have to get as strong as I am. If the first police would have just simply written a report instead of saying domestic difference or something like that, if they would have said, hey, he was trespassing, putting his car on a sidewalk in the report, then that would have been enough. And that's all I asked.
Who is the officer, Chris?
I don't remember these things. I mean, I could go through the video and you could see his face and stuff, because I was asking him, look, don't just write, and you can look at the reports on this thing, but and they admitted it after the fact. After the fact, they're saying, yeah, it would have been a lot better for us just to put 1 or 2 details in there so the next police that come out, or the chief or anybody that looks at it, can say, okay, Mr. Hunt had to call this guy because a neighbor sent a text showing he was criminally trespassing, and they were beyond trying to figure out what to do about it and was asking for help. And when I went down there with the subdivision plat and showed that, yeah, he's definitely trespassing. That's not his sidewalk. That's the neighbor's sidewalk, and he blocks it on purpose because he's passive aggressive and just a snot. And they could break, and that front wheel being on the sidewalk could crack it because it's not pavement grade side concrete. It's just a sidewalk. And so they made him move the car, but with the report just went in domestic difference or something like that. It's like, no, you needed to put in there the guy was parking his car on the neighbor's sidewalk, and that's it. Don't have to get involved in it. Just say, hey, this is the fact. So then when I called that night, after he at midnight revved his twice as loud as a Harley motorcycle illegal car. The car now is about as loud as a Harley, which is improper. It's a code violation still, but it's still half as loud as it used to be. So whatever the issue is, and it's definitely not code, that car's not sold like that. That's a modified car. So he lied to you about that too. But anyways, and when he did that, and I called the police, and they were great. The Chamblee police came out in 15 minutes, And when I walked down there, then he came out it took him 15 minutes to come to the door, and he acted like we woke him up. And he was in a bathrobe acting all groggy. And I said, the guy's a liar. He didn't just wake up. We're not harassing. And the police turned on me. You're harassing him. Why would you call us out here at midnight? I said, his exhaust is still crackling. Feel the exhaust pipe. It's still hot. I would never call anybody out here at midnight unless he purposely in front of my house revved the engine 2 or 3 times and then went down just because he's pissed because of the morning call. So did they put a report on that of a noise complaint? I don't know. That's the whole thing. Then they would have had 2 reports by police being called out to 1938 Anastasia Lane. And you can do a records checks. Look at the record checks, and you'll see one was Saturday morning, and the other one was in the evening at about midnight. And you'll be able to say, wow, okay, well, these are the photos, these are the evidence, this is everything. Too bad the police weren't diligent enough to write down parking on neighbor's sidewalk. And then the other one was noise complaint, car was still hot. Were not witnessed by police, but the other neighbor that they woke up at midnight to get a verifying witness said, yeah, he drives a very loud car.
I got you. So go ahead and file your TPO. Let me still get with the chief and see what kind of resolution we can come up with this whole situation. And we definitely want this to just work out for both parties.
Well, it's not both parties. This is what you have to remember. This is not both parties. This is a woman across the street with small children being terrorized. This is somebody who speeds 50, 60 miles an hour up and down Chamblee Dunwoody, proven by following the volume of the sound and the speed of the car. This is somebody terrorizing 3 neighbors on Anastasia Lane and the house across from Anastasia Lane.
Listen, I know that. At the same time, you're making your complaints, he's making his complaints. So we have to look at both sides of it. All right, not saying that he's the angel. We're definitely in that video when he came through, speeding through that looked like speeding through the neighborhood, and then reversing and coming back. That was uncalled for, and I don't agree with it.
Yeah, and most importantly, he's driving the car he promised he wasn't going to be driving.
Right, correct.
And it's a code violation. Not only the speeding, but you can hear the noise on it. That is not a manufacturer spec car. And he lied to you about that. And you can say, really? Okay, well, let's go right down the street here into Chamblee. Let's take your car down to this dealership that sells those things, and let's ask them, why are you lying to a code official? Do you realize that's a criminal offense to lie to government officials? I don't know if it's the same thing as lying to a cop, but lying to a code official can't be good.
Right.
I mean, this guy, the only thing that this guy's going to listen to is the threat of the police and the law. He's not going to respect.
You're absolutely right. I got a meeting right now at 9:30. I'll get back with you. But like I said, let me get with the chief. Like, this case is not closed. We're still working on it.
Okay, and I please. And while the only thing I'm correcting you about, this isn't between me and him. This isn't an ego pissing contest. The only reason why I got involved is because a mother with children, another mother with children, and neighbors were asking, and a grown neighbor man was asking me for help because it's gotten out of control. And so, yes, I'm the point person, but that doesn't mean it's between us. And all I'm asking for him to do is to get code compliant and drive the speed limit. And I think you've got enough evidence now, and the chief should be pissed and angry enough that he's lying to people and just meet with him ASAP this week, please. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
All right.
Okay, this is Wednesday, September 21st, and this will be an exhibit for the TPO against Alex.